All right, new motor, meet old motor. You guys better get along. Kiss. Kiss. Okay, that's getting weird. We're done with that. Day number 2. All right, so as you guys are aware, G35 completely torn down, brand new block sitting there. I have not opened into that yet. That is another video that's coming. We are gonna be building this block full send. It's getting ported heads, cams. I'm gonna show you the misery of taking these things apart. So just to give you guys kind of an update as to where I'm at right now, I still have the motor installed in the car. We're getting ready to pull that engine out. I got the motor mounts loose. I got the exhaust off. I got a bunch of stuff disconnected now. And one thing I noticed, I've been paying very close attention to the two blocks. And when I say that, what I mean is comparing, apples to apples, what's different, what's the same. And I got a good handle on it at this point. Unfortunately, what I've discovered is I'm actually going to have to run a standalone unit. On the car, which isn't cheap. Wasn't really something I was planning on at this point. But with that being said, it's absolutely necessary because I have confirmed that I am not going to be able to have exhaust camshaft control with the factory ECU. Now, those of you that are serious about building and making some power know that a standalone unit offers you things that the factory ECU could never do. Now, with that being said too, in these modern day times, we got companies like Haltech, AEM. There's a lot of these companies that actually have CAN bus incorporation with the factory accessories on the car. And what I mean by that is that you can use your existing harness or elect to use a custom harness, but essentially at the end of the day, even with that standalone unit installed, you will still have controls of the accessories and all of the other things on the car that make it function like a normal car, like your AC, I could go over all the things, but essentially think about it this way. All your regular stuff functioning, but the computer that controls the engine, completely different standalone unit, which is why it's called a standalone. It's a separate computer that has more ability to control the functions, inputs, outputs, etc. of the engine. So the reason you cannot use the factory ECU is this guy right here, okay? And that is because this exhaust phaser is different. And when I say phaser, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, probably would do some homework. But essentially, the camshaft is not fixed to a pulley or a gear, like in this motor, that's ran off the timing chain. And that's the same with the intake. They have phasers that can actually advance, retard the timing, etc., so that you have control over some of the, timing control of the motor, which is how you produce horsepower. Now, all of that comes down to this guy right here, okay? And I was thinking about possibly swapping the timing covers over, but I've been talking to some educated guys, smarter than myself even. Not something I want to do, because if I did that, I would actually have to use the heads off of my 150,000 mile factory block, which I do not want to do. This is a brand new engine. We're going to run it the way it is, although we are tearing it down. We're going to be doing cams, ported heads on it, ported and polished, if you guys want to get specific. And I'm going to reuse all the factory timing. Obviously, it's all brand new. I do have to swap, and you will as well. If this is going in like a Z application, obviously they come all-wheel drive. You're going to have to take your existing oil pan, you're gonna have to swap it over so that it has the rear wheel drive setup, which will essentially relocate the oil filter. There will not be a through tube where the axle goes through. You guys get the idea. You can buy one of these brand new, a Series 1 HR. It's not necessarily what Nissan calls it, but you can still buy these factory brand new long block. However, I wouldn't recommend it, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why you should consider this one. Now, one of a very important reason why, okay, and I'm going to get you guys some light here, is just the head design in general, okay? So I'm going to try to get you guys in close enough here to see. I mean, you got a pretty good view at this point. You can kind of see what I'm looking at. Now, what we're looking at is the intake side of the cylinder head. Now, I want you guys to pay close attention, okay? So it's got a very flat plane. It runs down into a very hard, flat-edged, segregated wall between both of the intake valves. And just to back up, you guys can actually see the design of that. Okay, it's not a bad design, but with that being a completely flat split right there, that absolutely does disturb some airflow. Now, that being said, obviously, Nissan had that in mind when they designed the second gen version. Now, if you look at this, and it's hard to see, but not only is the port slightly bigger, and I'm talking slightly, like we're talking a millimeter, okay, but that does make a difference. So I want to get you guys in here real close, okay? Now you see this design here. It's got a dedicated chamber for each valve. So a dedicated one that runs this way and one that runs that way instead of just the flat bottom like the Series 1 has. And then instead of that flat wall, we actually have a very sharp-edged, segregated area between these valves. Now, I know I'm not using a borescope and it's not as clear on the camera, but just look at this. Very, very well designed. And then look at this. Better port design on the intake side of the heads. And you have a Z or G car, coupe, sedan, whatever. Force induction, supercharged, or just a big NA build, but you guys know these things are hard to make NA power. This is probably your best candidate for going force induction under those conditions. You already have better flowing heads. You already have more exhaust timing control. You have a plethora of used Q50 hybrids with the 3.5 that nobody else really wants for parts. Nobody's going to take the motor for because they don't really fit in any of the Z or Gs that use the VQ35. And in a nutshell, they're a re-engineered version of the original VQ35. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, well, scrap that whole idea, just put a VQ37 in it. And I can't really argue with you, but what I can say, you know, I like the HRs. The VQ35, like this block and this bottom end, can handle just as much power as the VQ37. And here's the other thing to remember. There is less to go wrong in the valve train of a VQ35 than there is the VQ37. The VQ37 has the VVEL, which is, it's a great setup, don't get me wrong, but more moving parts, more potential issues to take out camshafts. Anyways, just wanted to give you guys an update, kind of give you a video on the differences. I actually relocated all of the junction boxes. Now, it's kind of hard to see in here, but I'm going to try to give you a visual. So basically what I did is I cut all these brackets up, and one of them's mounted here. That's the main junction box. Is way tucked against the side. It's no longer facing down, it's facing this way. Same with this box, and then underneath the little fuse holder, I actually have underneath those two. And the reason for it is because I'm gonna have all this extra space here. The overflow reservoir or surge tank or whatever you wanna call it, I'm gonna be going with a different style. It's not gonna be the same Nissan one. That's gonna go in this compartment here. And the reason for that, I can put more fluid towards the back. I can move more of the weight backwards. The power steering reservoir, if I can swing it, I'm gonna be mounting like right in this area here, like right on the side, knock a hole through it. And yes, we have hot exhaust, but we'll shield the hose right down into the power steering pump. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to shift as much weight backwards as I can, which another thing you guys may have noticed. So here is main power feed. Here is the ground feed, and that is this connector here. You guys probably don't even know these are on the car. This is how the car actually monitors the amount of amperage flowing through the charging system. So I am relocating the battery. I'll kind of open this door here and show you. I got the wires ran all the way down. Now granted, yes, the wires do add a little bit of weight, but we're running that all the way to the back. The battery is going to be mounted on this side in the back. You guys like that two-tone? Spray paint, regular paint. Anyways, battery's getting mounted back here. As you can see, I got, well, the whole car. Just parts everywhere. So I ripped apart this side of the dash. It's because I had to feed the wires through. Damn, look at that. So you guys, check this out. This is a OG GTM oil pan. Look at that. So, you know what? I'm going to try to flip it around this way. I think it'll stand that way. So, if you guys can take a look at this, right? So, here's the size of your normal oil pan. And then not only is this pan deeper, okay, but it has outlets all the way through either side. Now, you guys probably know what these are. Those are your oil dump returns that go right into the pan. So back in the day, you would buy the GTM twin turbo kits, right? And your dump tubes could run right into the pan, direct fit. I mean, it does not get better than that. Anyways, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that it also came with hardware. And see what these are right here is to block off the oil returns for the turbos, which is just in itself awesome. But to make it even better, it comes with the flanges so that you can make your own tubes and the gaskets to seal it. So whichever route you decide to go, you're set. Also, it was kind of a two-part deal because I really wanted aftermarket fuel rails. And the reason is because I want to do a return system. So I got these GTM rails and could not be more stoked on it. Not only that, I love this color so much that I'm absolutely going to have to find a way to get the manifold to match. Hey, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Please start subscribing, guys. So many views, so little subscribers. It really does help me. And when I get to the point where I can grow this channel enough where I can start monetizing it, I will put way more effort into the production, the filming, basically everything that goes with having a channel. So I would greatly appreciate it.